I have seen so much David Byrne slander on TikTok, and I am not here for that. No more of those shenanigans. We're going in. Hello, wonderful humans of the internet. How are we? My name is Sam Scott-Thorne, and I am a vocal coach based in Glasgow. Now, if you'd like to meet and explore your voice a little more, you can find me on sstvocals.com. You can also find me on Patreon and various other social media platforms, and I'll put the handles down below and over there, over there. It was very rushed, and it was supposed to be Sia's song. But probably did not sound like that. Now, if you'd like to consider becoming a patron, you have access to things like early release of reactions, you can fast track reactions, become a reaction, there's special rules on my Discord server, and you also have access to all sorts of bonus content like my Vocal Anatomy 101 series where I break down how the voice works, so consider becoming a patron and help shape my channel. Right, this is a performance that I have seen going around TikTok as like one of these like, oh, what went wrong, what an embarrassment, blah 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 type thing. I've not listened to the whole thing. I've heard tiny little snippets, and it's Sia performing Unstoppable with David Byrne, who, if you're not familiar with him, he was a part of the Talking Heads. He's an absolute legend, icon, genius, and they duetted. Now, I have some kind of feeling on things just based on what I've seen, but we're going to go and do like a deep dive and actually analyse the whole performance. So this was at the New Year's Eve party on NBC, Miley Cyrus's one. If you want to see more performances from that, and this gets through to the actual public, then let me know and we'll go and have a look. But for now, let's go and check this out.
I'll smile, I know what it takes to fool this town. I'll do it till the sun goes down. I'll choose the night time. Oh yeah, I'll tell them what they wanna hear. Put my sunglasses on while I shed a tear. It's never the right time.
Okay, so Sia has got such a signature voice. It's very, very loose. Like the diction is quite hard to decipher at times. There's lots and lots of fry coming through. Ah. Now that's just where your vocal folds are at their slackest. So if you think like a chest voice is where there's like a lot of resistance to the air and you get fold like this. Head voice is when there's only the top end of the vocal fold that is letting air through. So it's a little bit lighter, a wee bit thinner. Slack is just when they go brrr, and the air just kind of bubbles through, finds its own way out. It's toneless, it doesn't have any key to it, but it's the beginning of your kind of phonation journey, if you like. So makes a really nice onset, really nice smooth intro, with a little bit of texture and just adds a bit of character. So far, so good. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. I put my armor on, show you how strong I am. I put my armor on, I'll show you that I am. I'm unstoppable. I'm a Porsche with no brakes. I'm invincible. Yeah, I win every single game.
Okay, so here's the first thing that's happening. There is a track of her vocals behind her live vocals just to kind of steady everything out and boost it. It is like an industry standard. This is not her trying to pull the wool over your eyes. This is not me exposing her. This is just how it is done on stage these days. So that is stabilizing her sound. This will become important at some point in the future, I believe. Let's keep going. But it sounds really good. Really, really nice, lovely and pointed. There's a lot of twang in there, so it's got kind of like a bite to it. It's very precise, precision, laser focused, lovely, good.
I'm so powerful. I don't need batteries today. I'm unstoppable. I'm unstoppable today. I'm unstoppable today. Unstoppable today. Unstoppable today. I'm unstoppable today.
So, here's the first thing. He just turns up absolutely out of nowhere. Like, there was no introduction for him. Please welcome David Byrne. None of that. He just kind of like appears, and the way that the camera work happens as well. It's like he's just like materialized out of nowhere. There should have been some kind of build up so that the viewers at home could see, oh, David's about to sing. On top of that, he's now trying to just find his place at the end of this chorus before he starts. Maybe probably shouldn't have done that and just started from this verse, which I'm assuming he's going to sing. But let's keep going. Right. I think that's actually a good vocal. People were kind of ragging on it, but I don't really see there's much of a problem here. It's sung the way that he would sing it, so it doesn't sound like Sia, because, as we said, her diction's a wee bit looser, it's a wee bit kind of more flowy. He's attacking these lyrics, getting a bit more kind of, diction out of them. Keep in mind that he is singing a song that is Sia's, so he's had to learn this song, and he's doing it in the original key, the key that she's comfortable singing it in. So he's the one that's having to move everything about his voice to accommodate a different song. So I think he's doing a great job so far.
Oh yeah, I put my arm around, show you how strong I am. I put my arm around and show you that I am.
Now that harmony was not in key. I'll give you that one. I could kind of hear where he was going with it, but again, he is singing his live vocal against a voice and a track which sounds super, super clean. So anything he was going to do was going to sound a little bit jarring. Even if it was perfectly in key and correct, it still would have sounded weird because he's singing against like layered voices that have been processed to studio quality. Do you get what I mean? So it was always going to sound weird. But yeah, it's not quite in key. Anyway, let's keep going. Now, here, Sia's vocal is quieter than David's vocal, so you can't really hear her live performance against David's live performance. It's him and the track kind of against one another. Another thing that's kind of jarring is the staging of all this. Like, Sia's in a box, and a box is, quite famously a little bit isolating. And then he's just like stood off to the side. He kind of feels from beginning to this point like an afterthought. Like, you're just like, just shove David Byrne up there, he can go and sing with her. Is very ill prepared. They've not worked out that harmony. The harmony got there in the end. He worked out where he needed to be, and he got there by the end of the chorus. The only problem is that he's like very, very different in style to Sia. So you've got one voice that sounds very, very distinct in one way, and one voice that sounds very, very distinct in another way, and you're just expecting them to work, and it doesn't always work. I speak on my channel about recipes all the time, and about people changing the way that they sing to accommodate the people that they're singing with. That's why vocal harmony groups are so impressive. Here we've got two people that are just sticking to their guns and not moving one way or the other, and that's impacting the overall experience. It's a shame. I would have maybe gotten David to be a wee bit more aspirate so that his harmony didn't jump out so full, like it's very, very chesty, his voice, and I would have maybe got Sia to up her diction levels a little bit and maybe take the twang off a tiny, tiny little bit just to get them a little bit more balanced. It would have made all the difference, and I would have taken the track right down on the choruses and put Sia's live vocal up. Now here's another thing. This just feels like I'm ragging on everything, but I hope you can see this is coming from a place of love. Now, for some people, singing is a very connective activity. like you bond with the person that you're singing with. And you can see that David is constantly looking at Sia for visual clues, but Sia has a wig that comes down to like here. He can't really get much expression out of her whatsoever. He'll not have a clue what is going on behind that wig. Likewise, she's not going to be able to communicate with him properly because she's put a helmet on, essentially, and that is blinding her to most stuff. I'm sure she can probably see a wee bit, but you're not seeing into it from the other side. So David's kind of like doing this, and like he's kind of looking for a bit of camaraderie, and he's not getting it because just the costume is designed to be striking, but it's very closed off. I mean, there was like the privacy of Sia's face for ages, even though pictures of her face have been around forever. But you know, people were like, "Oh, she hides her face." It's just every single element of this is just clanging off of each other, and it's just not working. But it's not really down to the fault of either of them. This was just really poorly planned by whoever thought this was a good idea.
I put my arm around, show you how strong I am. I put my arm around, I'll show you that I am. I'm unstoppable. I'm a Porsche with no brakes. I'm invincible. I win every single game. I'm so powerful. I don't need batteries to play. I'm so confident. I'm unstoppable.
Yeah, now the harmonies are back. He's got them on point. Maybe that that maybe needed a wee bit work, but everything else is fine. It's literally just the way that he sings everything very, very straight, very, very vertical. So it's kind of like speechy. And then you've got Sia's voice. If you heard someone speaking like that in real life, you would be kind of discombobulated. So they've got very, very different voice styles. There's just no blend there whatsoever.
I love you, David Byrne, very much. And my big heart loves your big heart.
Right, okay. So I actually did enjoy that. There was so many things that I would have changed. Either have two boxes on stage and one lifts up halfway through and David Byrne is inside the second box and they're both standing in boxes, or no box at all. I think two boxes might have been a good idea because then it would have given David the structure to not have to constantly look to the side to try and connect with somebody that's can't really see him or he can't see. And then yeah, there's just definite little changes in those recipes, in vocal recipes, that would have made all the difference and just brought that performance into a more cohesive place. But Sia has a fantastic voice. David Byrne has a fantastic voice. But voices are like flavors, and some flavors just do not work no matter what you do. It's like dipping a jelly baby in mayonnaise. It's just no. It's like Haribo's and mushrooms. It's like pasta and marshmallows. Like some things just don't like work together. I mean, you can eat them together, you're not going to die, but it's just not going to be that pleasant of an experience. And if you do want to make them work, you have to bring in all these other factors in order to kind of blend these flavors together through other means, i.e. changing your vocal recipes slightly so that you balance each other out a bit more. But that is my 2 cents on it. Feel free to sound off down below and let me know what you think. But yeah, that's what I thought. So I hope you enjoyed that reaction. If you did, please give it a like and a thumbs up down below. And if you want to see more from me, hit subscribe, ring the bell, and anytime I have new content, you will be the first to know. So I guess all that's left for me to say is thank you so much for joining me. And how are we going to buy this one? I honestly don't know. I'm so flabbergasted by that whole video that I'm just going to say bye. That's all I'm going to do. I'm not going to give us an outro. I'm just going to say I love you. Go listen to some Talking Heads. This Must Be the Place, fantastic song. And I'll see you soon. Love you.